Hey there folks, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reviewing Halloween Resurrection. Now this is probably going to be the video where I'm the most unenthusiastic about the film. Simply because this most recent viewing of watching Halloween Resurrection, I could really see some of the pros and a lot of the positives that this movie had and a lot of the things that it had going for it. But unfortunately it was undercut by wanting, at the end of the day, wanting to have a cheap cash grab. And riding the coattails of Halloween H2O, riding the coattails of things that were successful at the time, or things that were relevant at the time, like having celebrities like Tyra Banks and Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes referencing Lost and the internet game show type thing. All of these things that would have been relevant at the time, all took center stage over having a Halloween story that could have really brought new life into the franchise, similar to H2O, but take it into a new direction that we haven't seen. Halloween 2 introduced the brother-sister aspect. Halloween H2O followed up with that. And then you got 4, 5, and 6 that do the Thorn trilogy that continue on the family storyline, but it has this little the Thorn thing undercut underneath it. You have these things that have been bounding Michael to their story. You know, introducing the brother-sister, introducing the family storyline, introducing the Thorn, right? The Thorn trilogy, or the Thorn cult, the Cult of Thorn. Jeez. Halloween 1 was the first movie where Michael had no motive. Michael was pure. Michael was simple. Michael was Michael. And Halloween Resurrection had a really good chance, a really good opportunity to bring it full circle, to bring it to this whole new thing that could have brought the franchise more movies, could have brought the franchise a lot more successful entries to come if they would have taken this movie, taken this idea, and understood how important it was to bring it into a new direction and had something that would really blossom into a new. I think you guys can get what I'm trying to say. Just have something that really would have impacted the franchise positively. Put it into a new direction. Have new stories with Michael Myers where he's not bound to the brother-sister storyline. He's not bound to chasing his family. He's not bound to the Cult of Thorn, these things. Now, obviously, H2O negates that. It's designed in a way where you can watch the Thorn trilogy and it still somewhat makes sense, but it's designed specifically to be connected to Halloween 2 alone, or only. So even though this movie gets called H8, it's really a new Halloween 4. So, in this timeline, they could have just made it seem like he just wanted to kill Laurie, and then that's it. And then he's just gonna go on his way. And they had a cool idea, having these kids come into the house, and Michael just picking them off one by one, and you got the beautiful set design. The house in this movie looks absolutely phenomenal. It's light years better than Halloween 6. It's light years better than Halloween 5. The Myers house in this movie looks absolutely gorgeous, right? The set design is fantastic. I will give them that 100%. And the lighting in this movie, the lighting is so good. Michael looks just, the mask and the look of Michael, not so much, but the atmosphere, the presence of Michael is really good in this movie. Now, there's some weird shots in the movie, but Michael looks really good in this movie. The lighting and the way he's presented is as close to Halloween 1, I would say, out of all of the other movies. Now, there's some really good stuff in Halloween 2, for sure, because Din Kundi was the director of cinematography in that movie as well as Halloween 1. And there's some really good shots in Halloween 4, and there's some good stuff in Halloween 6 as well. There's some decent through 5, but I think that the actual lighting, like those blue tones, the subtle silhouettes, just the highlights of the face, Halloween Resurrection really pulls off. There's a scene that really comes to mind that I actually wanted to use for the thumbnail, but it kind of broke away from the continuity that I had going, the consistency that I had going on with the thumbnails, if you've noticed. But there's a great shot where the two characters, I forget their names, but they go into Judith Myers' room, and the one character, the one dude who's from American Pie, tries to convince the girl to flash the audience, and Michael's just peering in through the doorway, and you just get this subtle silhouette, this subtle highlights of the side of his face. It's great. It's really good. The set design, the The lighting in this movie, the cinematography, really, really good. They had some good stuff to work with, and you had Rick Rosenthal directing, and you could have this opportunity to take the franchise into a new direction. It was really, really, really a big missed opportunity. I can't stress how much. Like, this movie would have been so good if they would have taken it seriously, taken Michael seriously, not made him a joke. Take all of the, I would have left the kids exploring, maybe leave out some of the other people watching and kind of keep it more contained. I think somebody else has said this as well, but keep it more contained and have it so it's maybe more of a taboo thing, and have it so that this kind of thing that they're trying to do, trying to record this kind of found footage thing with Michael, maybe it's a little bit more taboo. Maybe there's not an audience for it, but they're hoping that there would be. Maybe it's a little bit more personal, and you remove the Tyra Banks, you remove the Busta Rhymes, you do all this, and you make Michael intimidating and have him be scary, and just go from there, right? And I don't know. I just think that would have worked a lot better. I think at the end of the day, they made Michael a joke. The jokes of the movie were at the expense of Michael. I don't think the gentleman that played Michael Myers in this movie did a very good job. So much to the point that I don't even know his name. He's the only Michael Myers on this out of all the movies that I don't know their names. I even know most of the backup stunt guys who were in a lot of the other movies. I don't know this gentleman's name at all off the top of my head, and I don't mean to disrespect him in any way, but he's just never stood out to me. Not to say that I'm a big fan of George P. Wilbur or Don Shanks or anything like that, but this guy, I don't even know his name, and I don't mean to say any disrespect. It's just, this Michael Myers is just not very good in my opinion. I think with maybe some different directing, he could have been probably really good, you know? Sometimes people need to be led a certain way. I don't know what was happening on set. I don't know if Rick Rosenthal or anybody else is giving her any real direction, but whether they were or not, the end result wasn't very good. But like I said, they had a lot of good things. They had a lot of good things going for this movie. The lighting, the set design, the overall, the opportunities that they had to take the franchise in a new, interesting direction and have this be a actual Halloween 4. We could have had a new string of sequels that could have branched out into different things. And also, like, the stuff that was staged, like Michael maybe being, like, locked up in certain things and his parents maybe been really bad parents. That was interesting. That was cool. The first time I watched this movie, I was like, whoa, I like that, right? And then it gets revealed that it was all staged. I mean, you should kind of realize that it was staged to begin with, and the characters mention this, is that all this stuff is still in the house. And their first kind of tease with it is, like, the seasonings being fresh, whereas, like, if you watch Halloween 1, then you know the house is empty. So it's been empty for the last 40 or 20 years, and they just put all this stuff in there. But I think they could have left some furniture in the house and kind of have the actual, maybe Michael was, like, tormented and tortured as a kid, something like that. I mean, in the timeline, this movie would have been Halloween 4, right? But in the overall franchise, this is Halloween 8, and at this point, I mean, it's been 20 years since the first movie. At this point, 22 years, I believe. No, 24. So this would have been a really good opportunity to maybe dive more. I mean, we already went through the Cult of Thorn, you know. They don't have to do that, but I'm just saying it would have been more interesting than just finding out that it was all staged, is what my point is. You know, we had this idea where Michael's kind of living in the sewer, and this and that. I think they could have done some really cool and interesting things, and I think that they they just decided to go down the route of riding the coattails of H2O without any real creative drive to make this movie good, or make this movie good so they could make more good movies. They didn't try to do that. They tried to ride off the success of the previous movie. They tried to ride off the trendy things of the time, and it's just, it really shows. And they make jokes at the expense of Michael Myers. This movie had some of the biggest opportunities in the franchise to take big steps and to move things in a positive direction, and it just doesn't do that. And I think that's probably why it's looked down upon as one of the worst in the series, other than the fact that it's just plain old bad. Halloween 2 and Halloween Ends are bad because people don't agree with the creative decisions. However, I think that they're still good movies, and I actually like Halloween Ends. So I'm not one of those people. But Halloween Resurrection is just bad because it's bad to Michael. in terms of it disrespects him in a much more personal way than any of the other ones do, I think. It's bad because it wasn't taken seriously. It's bad because it was just a cheap cash grab. And it's really bad because they had some really good opportunities to make something really good. Like I said, I can find positives in it. I appreciate the lighting. I appreciate the set design. I appreciate the creative look of this movie. The artistic look of this movie, I appreciate that. I'm not the biggest fan of the Michael Myers mask, but I also kind of like how Michael's mask has a little bit more shading than the mask that Busta Rhymes would wear later in the movie. His mask is just kind of mostly white, whereas Michael's mask is a little bit more detailed. So I did like that, even though I don't like him having the same mask as Michael at all. But, you know, I like that differentiation or whatever. So with all that being said, this movie is probably my least favorite in the franchise for reasons that I've already stated. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to hit the like button, that would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe, all that good stuff. And, you know, if you have any comments that you wanted to let me know down in the comments, or any things you want to let me know down in the comments, shoot for it. Let me know what your favorite Halloween movie is, or your favorite timeline, or this and that, what you think about this movie. Let me know. And, of course, until next time, true believers.